Hello, this is Zach from Slugfest Studios, back to give you devlog number 10. Today we'll be going over the relic system, what a relic is, what it does, the framework for what I created for it, also a few other bugs that I fixed, and creating a living world, creating grass and water. But make sure to join the Discord, wishlist on Steam, search for Bonebound. I'll also drop a comment in the comment section, and subscribe for more weekly content. So the first thing that I wanted to fix was when you are carrying a card, it should activate the castle to release like this yellow aura. Somehow it got lost in the sauce with coding other stuff. So I just implemented that back into the game, as you can see. And then the next thing that I wanted to add was adding the water. So I just wanted to add some life to the tile palette. And I've actually had this water since a game. I was working on another game called Potion Peddler, so I just took that out from that game and then incorporated it into this game. So now you can see that I have water. So now I can actually like handcraft the scenery and create little like pockets of water, create some lakes. Pretty nice. So this is it and how it looks with the fog of war on. It's kind of nice because I can create like separate maps too with like water maps when I get to the biome weather system. I want to create a bunch of tile maps that kind of represent whatever the weather is. If it's snowy, maybe it has snow tiles. You know, like a desert place will have sand. So it's nice that I started to work on the water and then I can start to work on other ones. And now the next thing that I wanted to work on was the boss system. It was stamping the boss pretty much terrain as a square. So I had to fix that to where it kind of had an offset to it. And I did that to where it's more of like a circular stamp and it also spreads out. So you can think of like these boss tiles are kind of like corrupted. They're spreading out and they go on top. And now they actually paste onto the grass and they don't overlap with the dirt tiles. I just made sure that if it's a boss tile, it does not go onto the dirt tiles, only onto the grass tiles. And I actually put grass down there. And now the next thing, I didn't really like how saturated and green that tile was. I wanted to just make everything darker a little bit, so I actually went back through a lot of the tiles that I had, darkened them up a little bit, and I also created these tiny little grass that no one's ever going to see because they're very small, but I animated those just to give a tiny little thing that, hey, this might catch your eye, but I want to do this with certain things, and it has like a cap of where only 80 of the grass can animate at a time, so it actually has like a max animated filter on it. And I can do this with a bunch of different things. So I could add like tiny little sunflower. I can actually animate things in the background to where the world looks a little bit more alive. And one of the things that I actually fixed was a lot of this environment, like the environment props, was going through the tiles, which I want to clean off the tiles to where nothing pops through. So I actually achieve this to where when a boss tile, quest tile, or a normal tile pop up, it'll actually get rid of the grass or rocks or trees, so it clears off those tiles, so it simplifies it a little bit more and doesn't clutter those tiles too much because there's already an overlay, there's creatures on the tile, so I didn't want too much going on here. And the next thing was actually working on the relic system. So this is the nice big feature that I want to add in the game. This is a huge thing in the core game loop mechanic. So I had to work on a lot of UI and a lot of like framework for this relic system. Now there is going to be a part 2 into this relic system. And even this video is kind of a part 2 leading into the boss system, because when you defeat a boss, it should give the opportunity to drop a relic. Now this is your relic UI home location. And what I did here was I created kind of the staple work for the UI, and you have your combat, weather, utility, wildcard, and then your experience. So you can actually only gain certain ones that will help and enhance your deck. And now with the combat, you can have up to 2. Utility, you can have up to 2. Weather, you can have 1. The experience, you can have 1. And the wildcard, you can have 1. But the wildcard doesn't always show up. Think of these wildcards as kind of like jokers from Balatro or things that they can do crazy things. So there should be kind of a cap on these. But the thing with the wild cards is every 10 castles that you defeat, you might unlock another one. Every 25 after the 10, you might unlock another card that you can put into your wild card. So you can kind of keep making these combinations and synergies greater and greater the longer that you play. And the next thing to work on was actually creating the frames for the relics. I wanted every specific relic to have kind of a specific frame to it. I want it to be where you can look at this frame and you can tell, okay, that's a combat card. You can look at another one and be like, that's a utility card. They're very distinct and very different colors. They have that golden trim and golden background on them to feel like they're very rare. They're an actual relic. There's some kind of golden tablet, but they have this different framework to them. So as you can see right there, your basic dragon card, and then I go over, and that's kind of the foundation of the combat relic. I do go back to this card every once in a while because I start to add a little bit more, kind of change up a few things. And then this is the weather card. So I wanted to do like kind of clouds on the outer frame because it's a weather card. And then I just added some highlights and shadows to those clouds. And you'll notice I do this with a lot of the cards. I'll go back through, I'll add a lot of highlights to certain parts of the card. I kind of just make every card similar to where I want to give every single relic a little bit of love. So I go back through, and then this is the experience card. So the experience card is going to be a purple relic card. This is the things for like, they might enhance like where like your undead get more XP. It can really lead into like tribal and species types to where you can really power up one type of species, or it might be you gain double XP from quests. Anything that refers to experience, that relic will control. And now the next one was a utility card. I think this looks like a very leafy themed card, but I do like how the spikes go in, and then you kind of have that mesh wire and that splits the image from the description. It kind of looks like an electrical wire or electrical fence, so it kind of fits into the utility a little bit. And then this is actually me going back through to the combat relic. I start to make these frames a little bit more spiky. And finally, the wild card. So the wild card, I did every single color of the other relics, because this wild card can actually lead to a bunch of different things. It can actually, you can get things that like benefit the combat card, and also like wild cards are where they can add a +1 to a different type of card for your max relic. So you might find a wild card that adds a +1 to a combat, so now you can add an extra combat. And those are actually all done. So these are the final frameworks. So that's the combat relic right there. The weather relic is right there. And then I have the experience relic right there. Then the utility relic frame. And finally, the wild card relic frame. So these are actually the fully done frames for all of the relics. Let me know which one you like in the comments below. And now to give you kind of a final look of what these relics are going to look like in game, I actually designed the whole prefab and the preset for what relics look like. So as you can see right here, we have a combat card. It's called a bone goblet. So you have the image right in front. That frame behind is actually going to be the texture that moves. So you'll have a background that moves on it. I can switch it to any texture, but it tells what kind of card it is below. So you have the combat, and then you have the tier level, because relics can actually level up. You have a star in between the name and the image. This actually represents the tier. So if you have a 1 green star, it'll be tier 1. If it adds a purple star, that will be a tier 2. Then you have the description on the lower half of the card. And then below that, you have a burn count. So the burn counts are actually how you upgrade your card. Let's say these relics pop up and you don't like a certain card. you can actually burn one of those cards you don't like onto a card that you already have equipped. And it will be, if you do that with this card and it's a 0 out of 2 burn counter, you burn a card on top of it, it will turn into a 1 out of 2. And once you hit that 2, it will pop it up to a tier 2, which will enhance the stats on it. So for example, this card, all friendly undead anywhere gain +1 power. It might do a all friendly undead gain 2 power. And if it goes to a tier 3, it will be the 3 stars to it, and then it'll be a +3 power. So you can fully keep on upgrading certain cards that you like. And if you get a dud of a card, you can always erase it. And that is it for devlog number 10. So this is leading into the relic system. I'm probably on step 2 or 3 of like step 7. The next steps will be just adding it in to the game and then having them spawn. So I'll showcase that actually in the next video, but make sure to join the Discord, wishlist on Steam, search for Bonebound, or just click that comment and subscribe for more weekly content. Like I said, this is kind of a part 2 of boss, and then it'll be a part 2 of the relics finished. And always remember, relics are proof that hoarding is a valid strategy. Thanks for watching.